Good afternoon teachers, no, at magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat and welcome to our Saturday live stream, no, para sa ating session. Okay? Hello Sir Jamby, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Franco, and good afternoon, of course, as well to all of our teachers. Ayan, kung ano pa man po ang kasalukuyang lagay ng panahon sa inyong mga lugar, we're happy that you've decided to join us at sana po maging sulit ang pagsama ninyo sa amin ngayong hapon.
Yes, no, good afternoon. Definitely. This is also one of the things na inaabangan ko. Siyempre, isa rin to sa mga weakness ko as a teacher, yung communication. And which is very important, no, lalo na for a teacher. Kailangan natin. Pero Sir Jamie, no, bago tayo magsimula siguro, baka because medyo matagal na tayo hindi nag-shoutout sa mga webinars natin. Kasi masyadong pack yung mga sessions natin, so walan tayo ng oras. Pero ngayon,
Sure.
maybe we have some time, no? So let's
Yeah.
greet the
Yeah,
teachers
we will
first.
allot po we will allot the first hour of the
First
webinar
time.
para
For
lang
just shout out.
ma-shoutout.
Naku, hindi kasi talagang kailangan nating ano 'to, kasing bigatin yung speaker natin para sa araw na
Wow.
'to. Inaabangan, okey.
Ay,
Pero siyempre
mauna na ako, Sir Franco.
go ahead Sir Jamie.
Mauna na ako. Well, they're not in the comment section, pero ang unang-unang gusto kong batiin, nanonood this afternoon ang aking anak na si Arya together with her friends Misha and Yuan. Ayan, manonood daw sila at para matuto daw sila kung paano maging teacher, sabi nila.
Yes, full support na sa ano natin,
Mga ano pa
from
sila yan,
Ate Ari.
mga 9-year-old students po pala yung mga yan.
Yeah, oo. Good afternoon Ate Arya. Shout out, no, to Ate Arya and her
Oo.
friends. Okay? So, let me now begin with Teacher Sandy Reyes. Good afternoon. Kay Aljake David Laganya. Teacher Joe M. Clee Manalo. Teacher Roche Abelia. Teacher Edna Ricafort. Teacher Kadapi Monsiang. From Sultan Kudarat. Kay Teacher RG Guevara. Teacher Angelica Blasquilio from Catanduanes. Okay? And Teacher
Wow.
Gemma Rivera, Teacher Abby Gail Ramos, okay? And of course, ako yata, Teacher Marilit Butaslak, good afternoon. Go ahead, Sir Jamby.
Muntik mo nang batiin si Teacher Franco Nicolo Adon eh.
Muntik na.
Pagbati rin kay Teacher Nerissa Behay, Teacher, tama ba? Nabati na natin si Teacher Marilyn, no? Teacher Marieta Dukusin, Teacher Alma Lagana, watching from Iloilo, Teacher Paula Marie Luna, Teacher Ellie Ostrea, Teacher Geneva Baribad, Teacher Margie B. Gonzalez, good afternoon daw from Valencia City Division, Bukidnon, Teacher Sally Regua. Ito si APL Slideshows, palagi itong nanonood sa atin. Ano, Sir Frank, kilala mo na ba kung sino si APL
Na hindi pa.
Slideshows?
Teacher APL Slideshows, do let us know your name. Also siguro your kahit location siguro, no? Para
Oo.
lang alam natin kasi talagang lagi dito, no? Taga-subaybay natin to.
And Teacher Joella Giriba and Teacher Charlene C. Peguro. Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon din po kay Teacher Rona Alama, kay Teacher Edna Despi from SDO Camarines Sur, Teacher Jocelyn watching from Davao. Okay na, naka-unmute ka na, Sir
Okay
Franco.
na ako, yes. Oo, naka-unmute na ako. Pastor Manny, of course, always with us, no, blessing kaya ang ating mga webinars, ating mga session. Burns Habit, Teacher Jennifer Garalde, Teacher Jenna Lynn Villar, Teacher Lilibet Nibreski, Bicolana Magayon TV. I'm assuming this is a YouTube channel as well. Okay? And Teacher Florida Grantoza, Teacher Kaing Moe, and Teacher Philjean Shane Tan. And of course, good afternoon to Teacher Jessie Ray Milliamena.
Ayan, pwede pa tayo, no? Tuloy pa tayo,
Go
Sir
ahead.
Franco. Good
Yes, go ahead, Sir
afternoon.
Javi.
Teacher Kumbela, kung yan man po ang pangalan ninyo, watching from, ano ba to, VABES Ped Center. Teacher Gerald Victoria, good afternoon as well. Teacher Rafi Balderas, Teacher Evangeline Cortez, Teacher Altman L. Cabardo, watching from Malasiki, Pangasinan. Teacher Jennifer Sorsogon, pero hindi siya taga Sorsogon, watching from Monreal, Masbate. Teacher Cheche Palaboy Fajarito, good afternoon to you as well. Teacher Leo Jimenez, watching from the surfing capital of the North, grapes capital of the Philippines, sea urchin capital of the North, and the gateway to the northern Ilocandia, La Union. Ayan.
La
Alam mo,
Union.
isa to, Sir Franco,
Nakakamiss
sa mga
yan.
ano,
Oh.
I look forward to visiting once we're all allowed to go out and enjoy the Philippines again.
Sir Jamby, mukhang madami tayong bibis tayo na
Tama
ganyan
naman,
ano.
marami din.
Yes, oo. Actually isa sa mga iniisip na pino-project nating project soon ay yung tinatawag nating professional development caravan. So ano yun, yung magta-travel lang tayo, pupunta tayo sa iba't ibang mga probinsya at magbibigay tayo ng mga libreng sessions para sa mga teachers natin
Ito
soon.
itanong ko, Sir
Kapag
Franco.
oo,
Kasama ba diyan sa teacher caravan natin yung dalawang susunod na na lugar?
lugar na.
Ayan,
Ah,
yung mga babatiin mo, go.
ano 'to, sa ano na ba 'to, sa dulo na. Ay, 'di na ako nakasunod Sir Jamby kasi mamaya din itutuloy. So,
Ah,
bumaba na ako ng comment section
bumaba
natin.
ka na, sayang. Batiin
Oo,
mo na mabilis. Teacher,
go ahead.
username siya, Sugar12885, good afternoon daw, watching from Malaysia. And Teacher Raquel Villena, watching naman from Cambodia. Ayan.
Cambodia, yes. Kaya meron din
Malay
tayo
natin.
from, other countries 'no. So, Thailand, kay Teacher Ruben de los Santos, also from Thailand, okay. So, good afternoon teachers and, welcome to our session for today. This is the second installment 'no of our, September series, okay, and this will be on effective communication in distance learning, a public, speaking workshop 'no. So, we're just going to basically, talk ano 'no, our speaker for today which is, of course, very special is we'll be talking about no, how to effectively communicate in distance learning. Okay? Siguro, um, just to give my take no and why this session for me is very very important. Actually matagal na naka-line up to. It just so happen na sobrang pack yung lineup natin. Okay? Actually Sir Jamie pati October natin ngayon medyo malapit na ring mapuno no.
Correct.
Yes no. Is that major component no and very important aspect ng education and communication because that's because in itself no Sir Jambi education is at the core of education is communication kaya being able to communicate information be able to communicate instruction etc. Okay, so many of the things no are actually the transmission of information and knowledge okay is via communication. So kapag hindi effective yung ating communication, kaya nagkakaroon ng lapse in terms of the teaching and learning process. Okay? And siguro Sir Jambi, yung isa sa pinaka naging challenge din natin is that medyo, syempre may challenge na sa communication in a face-to-face setup. Okay? Mas lalo pa siyang medyo pinahirap at naglagay pa lalo ng challenge no yung distance learning. So how do we do that no in a distance learning modality? At yan ang ano no itatakal ng ating speaker for today. Kilalang-kilala naman natin yung speaker natin for today. Okay? So I'd like to of course introduce okay, our speaker for today is very special. Okay? Our very own Sir Jamby okay, will be taking on our session for today. Okay? A host, a singer, a teacher, a brother of course, no, and a father. Kaya katulad ng sabi niya kanina na nanonood ang kanyang daughter. Okay? Akala ko pati si Zeus nanonood din sa TV naman.
Tulog na si Zeus.
Okay, so may replay naman. Papa-replay na lang natin kay Zeus. No? Pero again, um, um, let us all welcome our speaker for today, Sir Jamby Santos.
Yeah.
Wala akong
Magpapalaki
effect eh.
tayo.
Hindi ako makapag ano ng effect. Yan. So, Sir Jamby, good afternoon and welcome no at I'm really excited talaga ako personally on a very personal level. Napaka-excited ako dito sa session to. Actually, gusto ko lang i-share din ng mga teachers no. Kapag meron ako mga sinusulat na mga letters at meron ako mga sinusulat din na mga speech, okay? Si Sir Jamby ang aking consultant no. Sa kanya ko pinapa-check, sa kanya ako nagtatanong na pag meron ako mga hindi ma-communicate na maayos na ideas, okay, or mga words, okay, or yun nga no, yung mga speeches ko, okay? kay Sir Jamby ako nagko-consult. Okay, so talagang if there's really one person na talaga na nalalapitan or pwede nating lapitan when it comes to effective communication, okay, in all case, no, hindi lang sa distance learning, okay, maybe in also in a personal level, okay, si Sir Jamby yun. Okay? Si Sir Jamby, bago ko ibigay sa iyo yung floor, no, at makapagsimula ka sa yung session, okay, is that can you just give us, okay, of course, no, an overview at paano magiging napakahalaga kay nitong session natin para sa ating mga teachers?
Okay. Sige, I'll start, Sir Franco, siguro with mga paglilinaw. Ayan. Una, um, hindi talaga tayo makapag-workshop kung yung term na workshop yung hinahanap natin. Hindi natin yun magagawa, not in this setup na hindi ko kayo nakikita, hindi kayo nakakasagot sa akin, hindi kayo sample, and so on and so forth. Siguro I'd like to think of this webinar as when you attend workshops tapos may first part when binibigay nung speaker yung konteksto ng workshop, and then he prepares everyone for the remainder of the activities. Parang ganon siya. Tapos naisip ko rin, oo nga, bakit hindi ko kausapin si Sir Franco and actually conduct workshops. So pag-usapan namin ni Sir Franco, baka pwede ako makapag-Zoom workshops with yung mga maliliit, small groups of people. Pero so for everyone's sake, this is that first step towards that workshop. Pangalawa, we will not focus solely on the spoken word, yung na communication. Kasi hindi lang naman 'yan ang nagagamit natin ngayong distance learning. Baka mamaya mag-leave na yung mga modular yung kanilang approach. Pero hindi, kahit modular ka, even if you've never seen your students, ang alam mo lang sa kanila, not even their nicknames, 'di ba? Apelyido lang yung alam mo sa kanila, sometimes even just their ID number. Do you still communicate with them? Very much so. Okay? So isasama natin 'yun ngayon. And why is this important? Why will this be impactful to our teachers most especially? Because true to the theme of this month na recharge, uh, isa kasi 'to sa mga para siyang math. Alam niyo 'yun, yung communication or yung public speech for that matter, para siyang math na may mga ibang tao tinanggap na kaagad nila or inisip na agad nila na, "Di ako magaling, Waterloo ko talaga 'yan. I will never improve in that." May mga ibang tao sila lang yung magaling, and so on and so forth. So, I'm here to attempt to rethink, to make you rethink yung ganong mindset natin. Lahat tayo pwedeng mag-improve. In fact, baka nga hindi mo alam na you're an even better communicator than yung mga tinitingala mo na communicators. Okay? Kasi ano ba? Ano ba yung main purpose? Ano ba yung main goal of communication? So, yun yung mga gusto natin ma-achieve this afternoon, Sir Franco.
Yes, maraming salamat no, Sir Jammy. And indeed, Sir Jammy, set up natin yan, yung workshop natin no, following this session para talagang yung mga on a more intimate level, no, para talaga makapag-usap, makapag-reply. Okay? We'll set that up no, soon at KTS na abangan po natin. Okay? So, Sir Jamby, the floor is yours now. Okay, we can start the session. Teachers, okay, while Sir Jamby is prepping his presentation, okay, please be reminded, okay, that you will get, this is a certified event, okay, so you will get a certificate na after this event, okay, after accomplishing the evaluation form, okay. And of course, do not forget, okay, that somewhere in this session, okay, we will be giving you a special gift, okay, but only for a limited time.
Start
So
na ba
stay
yun
good.
ngayon?
Yes, na today yung Sir
Right.
Jamby. Actually, nag-start na kami last session, Sir Jamby. Okay? And nakapagbigay na kami ng mga special gifts sa mga teachers natin. So we'll just continue that, okay? Para maibigay natin tong special gift for our teachers for this Teachers Month, no? For all our teachers. Okay? At hopefully, itong simple token of appreciation to our teachers, no? would go a long way on helping them no, in distance learning. Okay? So again, Sir Jamby.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Franco. Um, sa mga nakapanood na po ng mga previous webinars or trainings that I've handled, uh, I always attempt to, I don't know, hanapin yung aking ano, yung aking niche. What sets me apart from the other speakers? Okay, what sets me apart from Sir Franco, Sir Jello, and si Teacher Pau? And I'm sure kayo rin. Or siguro yun na yung isa sa mga first tips ko this afternoon. Um, Instead of focusing on where you're bad at, quote unquote bad at, or where the other people are good at, hanapin mo kung saan ka magaling. Hanapin mo kung saan ka masaya and start with that. Always start with that. And so this afternoon, I will start our session with a song. Ayan, naalay ko sa ating mga teachers, especially since we are celebrating National Teachers Month. Ayan, nag-umpisa na tayo nung September 5, if I'm not mistaken, at hanggang October 5, isi-celebrate natin yung National Teachers Month. So para po ito sa mga guro natin, I have a feeling na maraming guro, lalo na sa panahon ngayon, ganito yung nararamdaman nila na uh, in front of our students, we have to appear strong. We have to appear to know everything. We have to appear as if hindi tayo kinakabahan sa mga ginagawa natin. But really deep inside, meron pa rin eh. There's always that fear inside us. So para po sa lahat ng mga kaagapay natin, I'd like to offer you this song. pakikinig at pagbibigay hilig sa akin sa pag-awit. Sana magkaroon din po kayo ng opportunity to share with our kaagapay your talents. Pero meron din, there's also a reason why I wanted to share that song, why I wanted to sing in the first place, and why that song in particular. Okay, for a while lang po, let me just set up my PowerPoint. Okay, first things first. And I learned this beautiful system or beautiful strategy sa mga kaibigan natin sa Habi Education Lab. So if you've not had them in your schools for your teachers, invite niyo po sila, Habi Education Lab. At isa sa mga pinakamagandang ginagawa nila ay yung tinatawag na check-in. Okay? And at the end of the session, we'll also have what we refer to as a checkout. Pero check-in, and I'd like you to use our comment section for this. Ito po yung tanong ko para sa lahat ng mga kaguro natin. And I'm sure may sagot kayo. Okay? Where else is your mind at the moment? Okay? Again, we're very, very thankful that you're watching. We're very, very thankful that you are with us this afternoon. Pero alam din po namin, we know that your mind is divided. Okay? There has to be at least one other thing, maybe even 2, 3, 4 bigger things even than this webinar that you are worrying about. Okay, so again, I request you to use the comment section for this. The simple question is, where else is your mind at this very moment? Bukod sa nanonood ka ng webinar ng Kaagapay, ano pa yung iba mong mga iniisip? Ano pa yung ibang mong mga concerns? Ano pa yung iba mong mga worry this Saturday afternoon, kung maulan man sa inyo o hindi, kung nakapag-umpisa na ba kayo ng classes o hindi? I'm sure you have some other worry in mind. Okay, may delay lang ata. I think there's a delay in our video or in the comments. Pero sige lang, please, I'll give you siguro a few seconds, maybe even a whole minute to just type in your comments, type in kung yung sagot ninyo sa tanong na yan, where else is your mind at the moment? Ayan, sabi ni Teacher Pea, doing my lesson. Okay, correct. 'Di ba? Marami sa inyo nasa lesson nila. Okay? Ano pa ba? Checking my students' output. Marami 'yan. Marami nang ginagawang official checking background ang Kaagapay Teacher Support Webinars. Worrying po sa aking laptop, nakakasira pa lang. Naku, yan na. Laptop ba yung pamimigay natin, Sir Franco, mamaya? Tingnan natin, malay natin, di ba? Oh wow, beautiful, breastfeeding my baby. Ayan. So si baby ay nanonourish na yung kanyang nutritional needs. Nakakapakinig pa si baby ng ng Kaagapay Teacher Support Webinar. Wow, very good. Lesson plan and checking of tasks. They started sila, Teacher Edna Ricafort started August 23. Naku, may bills. Totoong-totoo yan. Doing Google Task Card while watching this session. Naku, pinapahirapan ba kayo ni Sir Franco sa mga Google Task Card? Editing and printing of modules to be distributed on Monday. Correct. So, the point is, and please do keep sharing with our Kaagapay your answer to our check-in question. Marami tayong ibang iniisip. Nanonood pa lang kayo ng webinar niyan. This is also true when you talk to your students. Even when you're teaching your students, even when you're working on the modules that you will be distributing to them, definitely your mind is elsewhere. Okay? May iba ka pang iniisip, you have other worries. And that actually affects communication. Okay? How? Pag-usapan natin in the next slides. And not necessarily negative yan, ha? Not necessarily negative. I have a request though, at ito naman natutunan ko naman sa ating kaibigan na si Brother Bryson Bonsol. I hope you still remember him from our, if I'm not mistaken, April series. Aside from being a happiness teacher, he is also now a manifestation coach, a licensed manifestation coach in the Philippines. So, given all your worries, given all your other concerns, and I encourage you to do this right before you start your classes as well. Gawin natin tong manifesting statement na ito. Ibulong mo, say it out loud, type it, idikit mo sa harap ng computer mo. This will help you kahit papano change your perspective. And the manifesting statement that I encourage you to do go something like this. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Besides, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. I am okay. I am okay. Okay? So, my challenge is that you do that. Before your class, before you have to do something important, mag-check ng assessment, gumawa ng module, gumawa ng lesson plan, ayan, mag-organize ng inbox or ng inyong drive, Google Drive. When you go for that for that certification sa either sa Google or sa Microsoft, umpisahan natin with this. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Besides, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. Tapos, end with, I am okay. I am okay. Okay? Let's anticipate the wonderful things that will happen pagka ginawa na lahat ng teachers na yan. Paglilinaw lang though, manifesting is not magic. Ayan, hindi yan biglang poof, wala na. Hindi ko na kailangan magbayad ng bills. Di naman totoo yun, di ba? Okay, poof. Magaling na lahat ng kaibigan ko. There aren't any more candles in my Facebook timeline. No, hindi siya magic. Okay? But instead, manifesting is something you allow. It's not about forcing your intentions and desires, but it's letting go. It's relaxing. It's allowing the creative powers of the universe to flow through you. So, I encourage you. Ayan, I encourage you to try that habit of manifesting. Because trust me, dear kaagapay, I'm not sure how many you are watching at the moment or kung nanonood ka man nito sa replay, you're right where you're supposed to be. Okay? Kung ano man yung worry mo kaninang umaga, but you're here now, there's a reason for that. Hindi ka nakapanood ng live, napapanood mo to on replay, there's a reason for that. Okay? You are right where you're supposed to be. Because, yun nga, kanina ko pa sinasabi, everything happens for a reason. Why are you here? May reason for that. Okay? Why, when you saw the title of the webinar, naisip mo, this is something I need. There's a reason for that. Okay? And whatever you will learn after this session, at sana hopefully ma-apply mo siya in your daily life, not just your work as a teacher, there's a reason for that. There is even a reason why that fateful day na isip ni Sir Franco, That fateful day in 2020, naisip ni Sir Franco, parang gusto kong mag-live sa YouTube nga ba yun, Sir Franco? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was in YouTube. Gusto ko mag-live. Yayayain ko yung ano ko, yung brother-in-law ko, yung wife ko, tsaka yung sister-in-law ko. We'll just talk about the problems or the concerns of parents. May reason for that because a year after, sama-sama tayo. Okay? Na hindi lang nakikinabang pero sama-sama tayong bumubuo ng kaagapay. Okay? Dun sa kaagapay teacher support, definitely nakaka-relate kayo sa teacher. And I think after a year, you've learned to refer to yourselves as kaagapay. Pero kasama din kayo dun sa support. Okay? You are very much part of why this community continues to thrive and grow and help more teachers. Students na nga rin. Parents na nga din. We've expanded our reach to everyone involved in the education sector. Okay? Now, why did I sing? Okay, so sir, bakit ka nga ulit kumanta ng umpisa? Okay? Because this is one of the first things that you need to be able to do in class. Get attention. Yung iba ang paraan ng pag-get attention. Pagkapasok pa lang ng class, okay, get 1/4 sheet of paper, surprise quiz tayo. Okay, o, 'di ba? Totoo, maraming gumagawa noon. Sana hindi totohanang surprise quiz talaga, as in surprise na walang di nyo pa napag-aralan at all yung lesson na yun. But if the purpose is to get their attention, ayan, you've certainly gotten their attention. So that's also why I sing. Okay? Part of the reason why I sing during my sessions is I want to be able to get your attention. But we teachers know that it doesn't stop there. Okay? Hindi sapat na nakuha mo yung attention ng mga students mo. Communication will not be ensured throughout the session, all because you've gotten their attention. Because perhaps the greater challenge is for you to keep their attention. Okay? How? How do you keep their attention? How do you ensure that after 5 minutes of listening to you, okay, wala akong mapupulot dito, they go back to whatever it is that they were doing. Okay? So, keep attention. And, sige, for some reason, you were able to get their attention and keep their attention for the next 40-45 minutes that you're teaching them. Tandaan natin, what happens after is also important. Natandaan ba nila yung sinabi mo? Natandaan ba nila yung tinuro mo? Will they be able to share it with others? Will they be able to apply it in their actual daily lives? So all these, getting the attention, keeping the attention, and being remembered are just some of the great challenges in communication that we have. Ganun din sa modules, ha? Di ba? If you have a 7-page module, first page pa lang, hindi mo nakuha yung attention nila, good luck. They will never get past through the second and the third challenge. So, make sure that you start with something attention-getting, attention-grabbing. And then, continue it by keeping their attention, keep their interest. Okay? Ano bang mangyayari mamayang end of the session? Kakanta ba ulit si Sir Jamby? Ano ba yung ipapa-prize ni Sir Franco, ipamimigay ni Sir Franco? So, these, hindi lang ito mga trip kasi ni Sir Franco mamigay ng gifts, but these also are ways by which we these are strategies we use to keep your attention. Even the comment section. Okay? Why do we encourage you to use the comment section? Bakit nagtsatsaga si Sir Franco, si Teacher Pau, more than me and Sir Jello, na sumagot, na makipag-usap sa inyo via the comment section? It's because we want to be able to keep your attention. Okay? in the hopes that at the end of it all, you remember what we all talked about. Okay. So, effective communication in distance learning, yan ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon. And you will realize later on na while there certainly are differences between face-to-face and distance learning, meron din namang mga similarities. Okay? There are things that are expected from you in face-to-face na ganun din naman yung expectation sa'yo sa distance learning. And in fact, okay, while perhaps everyone is focusing on, pag distance learning, mahirap na to, hindi ko na to magagawa. Okay? Yung paborito kong ginagawa sa face-to-face, hindi ko na siya magagawa sa distance learning. While I'm sure everyone has focused on that the past year, hindi nyo rin siguro lang na-acknowledge, but there actually are things na mas nagagawa mo ngayon sa distance learning na hindi mo nagagawa dati sa face-to-face. Okay? So, yeah, that is the beauty of communication. Tapos, kanina iniisip ko when I was typing this title, effective communication. Meron bang ineffective communication? Or if it is ineffective, baka hindi na siya communication. Okay? You've not really communicated if it is not at all effective. Meron ng communication breakdown. Okay? But we all know what we mean. Okay. Quick background lang, although I'm sure nakilala nyo naman na kami throughout the months pala, no, kasama tayo. So, background ko sa communication, I'm actually a communication graduate. Yan, guru ako. So, I took the teacher certificate course, but I'm actually a graduate of communication, to be specific, film and audiovisual communication. I was a former voice and stage performance coach. So, hence the singing, ganyan. Hence, why I'm siguro a little more comfortable using the microphone compared to others. Yan, sabi ni Sir Franco, I'm actually also a freelance events organizer, host, singer, and presently, sa pinagsisilbihan ko pong paaralan, I am the Culture, Arts, and Publications Coordinator. Basically, the office that I coordinate is in charge of the performing arts groups, the student performing arts groups of our school. Marami yun, yung sayaw, yung theater, yung kanta, yung band, and so on and so forth. And all the publications, including yearbook, literary magazine, school paper, etc. But all these do not actually make me an expert. Okay? Because at the end of the day, okay, I still continue to learn. And at the end of the day, I do not know your context. Okay? So kung magiging expert man ako, expert ako dun sa konteksto ko. But I do not dare claim that I know your contexts. I know your backgrounds. I know your students. No, definitely not. So sama-sama tayong magiging we will all together attempt to work our way towards being experts. Okay? Siguro, more than being an expert, I'm just really motivated. Okay? As I'm sure you all are. Pero ano yung greatest motivation ko? Why I would like to talk about effective communication in distance learning? Kasi meron akong 2 anak who are presently undergoing distance learning. Okay? One is officially enrolled actually na sa school. The other one, hindi pa. Pero does that mean hindi na siya natututo? Okay? Does that mean wala na siyang opportunities for him to learn about the ABCs, the numbers, etc.? Meron pa rin. Okay? So, this is why I'm very much motivated about this topic. Okay? Kasi it affects my children. Okay? It affects your children. And marami sa atin ang turing natin sa mga estudyante natin, they are my children. So, pagbubutihin ko maging communicator. Okay? With that said, the the session for this afternoon will focus on the communication process. Ayan, ito yung isa sa mga pinakapaborito kong um, ano bang tawag doon? Way of putting things or of organizing my ideas. Okay? Paborito ko yung communication process. Okay? The communication process is very, very complicated. Definitely. Okay? Models, varied models have come out. Okay? Para sa akin, yung pinakamalapit na communication model ay yung mas magulo, the better. Kasi ganun talaga yung process of communication. But just for discussion's sake, we'll focus on this particular model of communication. Yung simple lang, well, it's not linear, okay? Cyclical naman siya, pero yan, how I wish ganyan kasimple yung communication. Pero pag-usapan lang natin, okay? First thing that we need to remember or to take to heart even when we want to talk about communication is that it's not solely dependent on you. If my communication breakdown, hindi lang ikaw yung at fault. Or kung successful yung communication for that matter, hindi lang ikaw ang dapat papurihan as the sender. Okay? Or kung mababa yung grade ng isang bata, we all know it's not always just teacher factor. Okay? Because all of these different elements, sender, how the sender encodes the message itself, how the message is decoded by the receiver, and then there's feedback, and then there's noise. All of these all play a very vital role in the communication process. Again, hindi lang to basta online teaching. Hindi lang kasama dito yung even the emails that you send out, even the Facebook messages that you send out, even the modules that you distribute to your students. All of them go through this process. And all these elements play a very important role. So, isa-isahin natin. Because communication is quite definitely more than just the message. Okay? I'm sure teachers know this. Maganda nga yung content mo. Hindi mo naman ma-deliver. Okay? In the same manner, hindi pwedeng magaling ka lang mag-deliver pero wala kang content. Okay? So communication is more than just the message. What else can we find in the communication process? Of course, the sender and how the sender encodes. Unang tanong, skills. How skilled is the sender in the transmittal of the message, in the encoding of the message? And what are your considerations when you encode? Is it because, kunyari language, why do you encode it in English? Kasi yun yung required? Is it because that is what will make you appear to be a better teacher? Or is it because your students are prepared for it? Is it because it's the language that will help your students understand the lesson better? Okay? So these are the many considerations that we have whenever we encode. Okay? Why are you deciding to send it as, kunyari, ang dami-daming tinuturo nila Sir Franco, di ba? And amidst all of these applications and webinars that you've attended, they always want you to focus on quality over quantity. So that when you've mastered one or you've mastered two or three, you know why you are encoding it in Why you're using Edpuzzle, for example. You know why you're using ano pa ba? Google Forms in transmitting your lesson. Okay? There is a reason for that palagi. Perspective. Okay? You have two teachers teaching the same subject, teaching the same grade level. Will they teach the same lesson the same way? Definitely not. Okay? Isa ito sa mga palagi kong naririnig kay Sir Franco whenever he teaches his, if I'm not mistaken, his class in college. Ayan. Kasi iba-iba tayo ng perspective. Iba-iba tayo ng nakikita. Iba-iba tayo ng naririnig. Iba-iba tayo ng parts of a message that we decide to focus on. Okay? For example, even this session, even this webinar, if I ask you or whenever you ask, 'di ba, during evaluation, what's your takeaway? Iba-iba sila ng takeaway because iba-iba sila ng perspective. Iba-iba sila ng background. So perspective definitely affects the sender. Sender pa lang yung pinag-uusapan natin, nakaka-affect na yung perspective niya. Dagdag na natin yung pangatlo, attitude of the sender. If you're thinking about your bills, if you're thinking about ilang days pa ba tatagal tong laptop ko, if you're thinking about no, I have to be able to distribute these modules on Monday, okay? Does that affect your participation in the communication process? Ako rin, even, di ba? I have other worries after this. I wasn't able to attend, kunyari, a workshop this morning. So these are parts of my worries, parts of what affects my perspective. Oh yes, perspective makes a big difference. And we're just talking about the sender. Diba? Sender pa lang to. Kanina in-establish natin, the sender is just one of the elements in the communication process. And so sir, sobrang complicated pala. Sige, give up na kami. Hindi naman tayo pwede mag-give up, di ba? But part of being able to master or attempt to master at least how we communicate with our students, with others, is being aware that you're just one of the elements. Okay. Sige, gusto kong magpapanood sa inyo ng video. Ayan, pang ano lang, pampahinga lang, lalo na yung mga nag-worry dyan sa inyo. I'd like you to watch this video about why it's very important for you to be aware na yung attitude, yung perspective, at yung skills even ng sender is very important. You've all played pass the message in the past. Di ba? Napakasimpleng laro. May papabasa sa'yo yung nagpapalaro. All you need to do is pass that message to the person behind you. That person behind you will pass the message to the person behind him, and so on and so forth. Pagdating sa dulo, why is it always the case or almost always the case na mali yung message na umaabot? Probably because of these three. Skills. Kasi kung may word ka na ma-encounter and you don't know how to pronounce it, it will affect how you pass it. You don't know what it means, magtataka ka. Perspective, hindi mo naintindihan kung ano bang ibig sabihin nito. O kaya, you're more excited than the person you're passing it to. Iba kagad yung pag-receive ninyo ng message. Okay? Ayan, naglaro daw sila ng pass the message ng bata. I'll show you something truly hilarious. I shared this, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks ago with a group of student leaders. Nag-virtual leadership training ako. And one of the things that I focused on is communication. Pinapanood ko to sa kanila. So sana ma-enjoy nyo rin. Ayan, for a while. Ayan. So, panood natin ito, Sir Franco. Ay, okay. Enjoy po. It's enjoyable. It has a hilarious ending even. But deep inside, totoo siya.
We need to move out, man! Move it, move it, move it! I've been in! Hang on, Captain! I'm not gonna make it. I need you to give my wife a message. Anything for you, Captain. Tell her, Mary, my beauty, I love you always. Repeat it to me. Mary, my beauty, I love you always. Mary, my beauty, I love you always. I'll tell her. I'll tell her. Search! I need you to give the captain's wife a message. Tell her, Mary, my booty is blocking the hallway. Really?
Your husband was a brave man, and he left you a message we promised we'd deliver. Mary. My condolences.
That is so Jason. Thank you. Children, come hear what Father said to me.
Alright. That's the message. Okay, pagdating sa kadulu-duluhan, ayan, sobrang nag-iba na yung message. Yan. So I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. I do still, in fact. Pero again, brings us back to the point that there are so many things involved in the communication process. Let's continue. Okay. So apart from the sender and how the sender encodes, um, part of the process is of course the receiver and how the receiver decodes. Okay? Same thing. Skills din. Readiness. However much you try to encode your lesson in the most beautiful of language, in the most beautiful of words, di ba? Yung the most perfect word, but if they're not ready for that word, if it's not something that they've ever encountered before, if wala pang lang context clues doon sa, or if they've not had that lesson on context clues, they're not ready for your message. Okay? There will definitely be communication breakdown. For example, and I hope many of the schools do this, and this is what I admire about some of the schools na encounter namin nila Sir Franco. Last year and this year, sa pagbubukas ng panibagong school year, many of the schools actually allotted a whole week, sometimes even 2 weeks, to train the students about the platform that they're using. Is this important? 10 days yung sinayang nila, sir. Yes, but that is 10 days to prepare your students for the message, the quote-unquote message that they're going to receive. By the time they receive these messages, by the time the teachers ask them to submit things or to go to this, go click this button and so on and so forth, they're ready. Okay? Handa sila. Okay? So that's something for you to consider. Yes, nakakatuwa na ang dami nating natututunan ng mga applications, pero sana ipasa din natin yung training to our students. Okay? Make sure that they're ready for for whatever application that you want to use on them, kung anong words yung gagamitin mo sa kanila. Yan. Kaya nga isa sa best practices of communication teachers both in Filipino and in English or in the mother tongue, nagbibigay muna ng vocabulary words. Diba? Kasi these are words that they will encounter and it will affect their understanding, their decoding of the message if they don't know these words. And of course, perspective din. Okay? How is it possible that you're talking or you delivered the same lesson or two students heard the same lesson, taught the same way? Bakit magkaiba sila ng grade? Bakit magkaiba sila ng intindi? Is it always because you taught them poorly? No, because tandaan ninyo, there's also always that case that these students are coming from different perspectives, from different backgrounds. Can you imagine taking a test in a well-lit room, tahimik, malakas yung internet nyo, yung temperature hindi malamig, kumbaga perfect lang, siguro sabihin natin 26 degrees Celsius, ang sarap nun, diba? And you've had good breakfast versus your student na madilim yung room niya, okay, mali yung pwesto ng ilaw, may construction sa labas, okay? Hindi pa siya nakakapag-breakfast, okay, kasi yung mom niya naka-quarantine kasi na-expose sa COVID and so on and so forth. Different backgrounds, different perspectives, magkaiba sila ng pag-receive talaga. Okay? And it will also most definitely affect their attitude. So, all these are in play every time there's communication. Sir, ang hirap. Yes, mahirap talaga. But we will never be able to get through that difficulty unless, number one, we accept that we are a mere element in the process, but we are also a part of the solution. Okay? And then may noise pa. Okay? And when we say noise, we're not just referring to physical noise. Hindi lang siya tricycle. Hindi lang siya biglang kakatok yung Shopee or yung Lazada. Hindi lang siya tumitilaok yung manok or nagko-construction, 'di ba? Wala na ngang maipamigay na ayuda pero nagko-construct ng ng daan sa labas, ganyan. Bawal naman lumabas. So all these things, yes, are noise and yes, affects your communication. But there also are other physical things. It's everywhere. Kahit pa ilagay mo yung sarili mo in the quietest of places, meron pa rin bang noise? Yes. Because the noise that's going on in your mind, the noise that's going on in your heart, your other concerns, yung kaninang pinag-usapan natin, the noise that's going on in the minds and hearts of your students. Kaya nga we started with our manifesting kanina. I needed you to check in, to be aware of it and let it go. Offer it up. Kahit man lang in the next 1.5 or 2 hours of this session. Correct. The noise within ourselves. Minsan mas maingay pa yan. Okay? And does it affect how you communicate? Of course. But noise is really not something that we fight. Okay? Because it's inevitable. Meron at merong noise dyan. Okay? Mas-stress ka lang if gusto mo talaga zero noise. Okay? Use it instead to your advantage. Okay? Gamitin mo siyang hugot. Ayan, favorite ni Sir Franco. At mukhang natututunan na ng lahat ng mga Google certified educators and trainers, di ba? Kung halimbawang may pinagdaraanan si Sir Franco or may naiisip siya, those that would seem to be noise, ginagamit niya bilang hugot. Okay? Yung mga students mo rin, if they are able to connect these noise that they have to your lesson, if they find a connection, it helps them remember, in fact. Okay? So, since it is inevitable, since it is everywhere, pakinabangan na natin. Gamitin na natin yung noise. Ayan, buti na lang. I saw the term feedback given. Okay? Because feedback is also very important. This is what I love. This is one of the things that I love about Kaagapay Teacher Support's audience. Because you actually type in the comments. Okay? I've attended other webinars where even the comment section is very quiet. Okay? Yung awkwardly quiet. Okay? Because the things that you say, kahit hindi kayo nagtatanong, kahit yung mga emojis lang, yung mga haha, reactions, sharing from your personal experience, these are feedback. Okay? That I can use, whether to adjust, whether to improve, whether to continue. Ayan. So, feedback is very important. And it is more than just verbal. Okay? I'm sure teachers are very much aware of this. In class, one of my favorite type of student is the student who nods his head. Diba? Well, hindi ko naman sure talaga kung nakikinig siya or that he or she really agrees with what I'm saying. But if you see that student, that one student nodding and smiling, and you think na, you interpret it as, he gets me, he gets my lesson. Ang lakas maka-boost ng confidence, di ba, teachers? So, if you know that we teachers are affected by that, number one, tayo, when we attend webinars, o kaya the next time you attend a meeting with your supervisors, kung kaya na rin lang. Kung kaya lang ha, why don't you try opening your camera? Smile, nod when you're approving, o kaya click mo yung heart button, yung thumbs up button. Ang laking confidence booster niyan sa ating mga speakers. Sir, paano naman sa students? Give them the opportunity to give you feedback. Kahit hindi bukas yung camera, they're able to give you feedback. Maybe every now and then, allow them to chat. Allow them to express via the comment section their thoughts. Kaya nga yung check-in na ginawa natin kanina and yung check-out, very important yun. Exit slips, diba? Doesn't always have to be about what they learned, doesn't always have to be about what the lesson was, but maybe how they feel about it. Okay? And basahin natin. Dapat basahin natin yung feedback na nare-receive natin. Okay? And read it, take it with an open heart. It's difficult, definitely. It's difficult, but as much as possible, take it with an open heart and mind. Because at the end of it, it will make you a better communicator. Kung positive yung ma-receive mo, okay, sige, continue, it is what you're doing. If you receive a negative feedback, imagine nyo yun or think of it as your student actually giving you a chance to improve. Kasi kung hindi kanya talaga gusto, he would not have given feedback at all. Diba? Pero yung the mere fact that he or she made the effort to type you her thoughts or to give you her thoughts, it's worth your time. Okay? It's worth considering. So, feedback gamitin natin. And I think this is, or evaluation, this is something that tayo Filipinos as people, hindi natin masyadong or we take this for granted kasi madamdamin tayo masyado. Okay? Very good. There's always room for improvement. The moment you accept that, you will grow even further. You will improve even further. Never pray to never reach that point where you think that you've reached your peak. You don't have room for improvement anymore. Nakakatakot yun. Because if you've reached your peak, it's all downhill from there. Okay? So, ipagpasalamat natin yung mga ganitong feedback. It's all about perspective. Siguro wag ka na lang mag-react agad. Diba? Pray about it. Meditate. Okay? Hingang malalim. Okay? Think how this will help you. And learn from feedback. Okay? Kaya nga palagi natin sinasabi, in the classroom, it's not only the students who learn. The teachers learn most definitely from the students even. Okay? The 21st century teacher must not be resistant to change. Correct. Now, the channel. The channel is very important, or the medium that you are using. Find the fit. Being a Google certified educator is not for everyone. Yan, baka patayin na ni Sir Franco yung stream. May iba talaga para sa kanila yung pagiging Microsoft, ano ba yung term doon? Microsoft teacher or Microsoft expert. Or yung iba, sir, mas perfect fit for me, for my context, for my students' context, ang Edpuzzle. Okay? Sir, we have our own LMS in school. Mas perfect for us yung fit na yun. Very good. Ang mas importante, find your fit. Find what works for you best. At hindi lang sa'yo, kasi nga hindi lang ikaw yung part of the communication process. What also works for your students. For example, yung ginagamit mo na platform, mabigat sa bandwidth, and yet your students, nahihirapan sila sa bandwidth. Okay? For example, the other month, yan, I attended, I hope you remember him still, si Sir Carlo Manyalak. I attended his yung chatbots for education. I know that it will not work for all my students, pero for a certain group of my student, it's a perfect fit. Swak yun sa kanila. So my challenge for you is, as you learn each, find what best fits you and your students. And whatever that is, know it. Try your best to master it. Okay? Halimbawang Google Meet lang yan. Or Zoom lang yan. Or Microsoft Teams yan. Masterin mo. Because there are so many things na baka hindi mo pa alam. Isa sa mga favorite na webinars natin, yung webinar ni Sir Franco, are you there? I forgot her nickname. Yung ating DepEd broadcast teacher who taught us about PowerPoint. Imagine, PowerPoint. It's supposedly something that I've been using for the past at least 15 years. Pero ang dami kong natutunan, di ba? Ang dami nating natutunan sa kanya. Si Teacher Marian Dobrin, yung kumanta ng math na songs for us. So, she has found a way to master PowerPoint, and I'm sure she continues to attempt to master it. Okay? And she shared it with us. Know your medium. And take advantage rather of its strengths. Bawat naman para, sabi ni Teacher Jesusa, ang galing daw ni Teacher Marian. Di ba? Very good. Invite ulit natin siya next time. But take advantage of the strengths of your platform, of your application that you're using, of your channel, of your medium. Yes, maganda to want to have what the other teachers have. Yes, maganda to want to have what the other schools have. But this is what you have now. Okay? Whatever it is that you are using in your school, whatever it is that you have access to, whatever it is that your students have access to, that is the channel that you have to work on and master and try your best to communicate best at. Who knows, diba? Baka dumating yung time you're sharing your experiences here in Kaagapay Teacher Support. Given the limited, quote-unquote, limited resources that you had, would that be useful? Yes, most definitely. Okay? Sabi ni Sir Franco, always have 3 to 4 tools that you master. Diba? Quality over quantity. In distance learning, the modes of communication include email, chats, internet conferencing, and even modules. Lahat ng pinag-usapan natin kanina, you can apply those in everything. In how you compose emails, how you chat, either with your co-teachers, with Sir Franco, for example, with your students, pati yung how we craft our modules, continue to improve it. Okay? Don't ever think that whatever the output that you first produce should be the highest standard already. No, improve lang ng improve. Okay? How do you do that? Know yourself. Continue to learn the medium. Know your students. Kaya babasahin natin yung bibigay nila na feedback. Yung sagot nila, yung hindi nila pagsagot. Mahaba ba yung sentences that they respond to you? Maikli lang ba when they respond? Okay? Ask them how they are. Okay? Give them chances to let you know how they're feeling. Use their names, kahit nicknames lang in your modules. Ang laking bagay nun. Diba? If you receive a module, tapos makita mo, uy, ginamit ni sir yung pangalan ko, Jamby, for example. Mamahalin ko yung module na yun. Sasagutin ko yung module na yun. It will most probably be the lesson that I will remember most. Kasi malaking bagay yun that you reach out to your students. At the end of the day, the aim of communication in distance learning is the same as that in face-to-face. Exchange information, be heard, be understood. Hindi lang yan para sa teachers. Okay? Pati rin yan sa students. They also want to be heard. They also want to be understood. O sabi ni Teacher Jesusa, I write their names. Ayan, in the WHLP we distribute every week. Napakalaking bagay niyan sa kanila. I also like how the comment section is active. Pinag-usapan nila, know your weaknesses. Correct. Okay? If you do not accept your weakness, and if you do not, although ang problema minsan, you accept your weakness. Ganun na lang. But you have to do something about your weakness. Okay? Hindi lang puro accept. Okay? There's always a way to improve yourself. Learn from others. That's one good way to collaborate with others. Kaya nga tinuturo ni Sir Franco palagi yung collaboration. So hindi naman kailangan ikaw lang. Diba? Ikaw lang yung nagbibigay. Now, here are just some tips to consider, and I encourage you, my dear partners in the vocation, to also give your tips. Again, hindi ko kasi alam yung konteksto ninyo. Hindi ko alam yung background ninyo, yung background ng mga students ninyo. So if you also have tips that you want to share, go ahead. Isa po sa mga masishare ko na tips, ayan, yung skills training ng kaagapay. Actually, wala naman ng reason for us not to be able to watch the skills training sessions of kaagapay kasi pinamimigay naman na halos ni Sir Franco. Meron pang team replay. Okay? And the topics, they come from us. Diba? Tayo din naman yung pinanggagalingan ng topics. Kaya huwag kayo mahiya mag-comment. Huwag kayo mahiya na ilagay kung ano yung gusto ninyong mga susunod na mga webinars. Because definitely, yung KTS listens and nagkakaroon tayo ng opportunity to learn more about these things that might improve our communication. Next, consider flipping your classroom. Okay? Ang pinanggagalingan lang naman nito ay ang sitwasyon ng infrastructure, ng internet infrastructure sa Pilipinas. Okay? So, alam mo na mahina yung internet. Anytime, baka mawalan ng malakas na access yung mga students mo. Flip your classroom. Give them the chance to, on their own pace, learn from you still. Okay? And feedback/evaluation. Umpisahan na natin sa Pilipinas. If this is already the practice in your school, very good. Nakakatuwa yung school ninyo. Pero as a generally kasi, 'di ba? We really have to have that love for evaluation. ang patotoo dito na negative palagi halos ang tingin natin sa evaluation, yung fact na negative yung idea natin about anong tawag dito, yung mga people who visit our school and nag-aano sila, paas ko lang yun nasa isip ko eh. What are the institutions that visit your school, that evaluate your school? Ayan, baka pa-share nga. Hindi ko kasi alam yung sa iba. Accreditors, mga accreditation institutions, organizations. Once we forget or once we change the way we view what they do for us, you'll slowly realize na yung ginagawa nila para sa atin. Yan, monitoring team. Para sa atin. Para sa students natin. Okay? DepEd officials daw. Very good. Of course, sige, they visit our school also for other things, pero palagi naman kaakibat yun na for our improvement. Yung reason why they go there. Okay? Balik tayo dun sa kinuwento natin kanina. Imaginein mo na lang kung di ka nila i-visit. Ibig sabihin, they care less for you. Diba? Mas ayaw nyo yun. Mas ayaw nyo yun yung hindi ka na bibisitahin at all because that means they don't see you improving anymore. At hindi totoo yun because there's always room for improvement. Also, some tips to consider. Ito, hindi naman puwersahan. Okay, baka lang dual monitor. I was surprised when I tried looking for dual monitors sa internet. Mura lang pala. All the while, I was thinking, naku, baka abutin ng mga 7,000, ganyan, or 5,000 even. Hindi, mura lang siya. Okay? But its effect is definitely great. Okay? Napakalaki ng effect ng dual monitor if you get the chance to try it. We're giving away monitors daw. 80,000 followers. Ilan na ba tayo, Sir Franco? Ilang followers na ba? 79,000. 79,000. May private chat. 76,000. Malapit na. Ayan. So, isa rin, kaya rin naman mamimigay si Sir Franco ng monitors kasi he also recognizes how it's very, very useful. Halimbawa, feedback. Imagine how much better your communication with your students would be if you don't only see your presentation but you also see their faces. You also see their comments. You also see how they nod, how they yawn pag nabobore na sila. Diba? May improve mo yon, and you're only able to do that if you have a second or maybe third monitor. Pwede ba akong sumali, Sir Franco, sa pag-giveaway monitor mo? Ayan, sound card. Yan, I use a sound card now, and parang after nito, hindi ko na ata kakayanin yung walang sound card. And I'll tell you why. Because of the sound card, I hear my voice. Okay? Sir, ayoko yung tunog ng boses ko eh. Ayun palagi sinasabi ni Sir Franco, di ba? He hates daw how his voice sounds. My wife din, ganun yung contention niya. Alam niyo ba may dyan, may scientific explanation why many of us dislike our sound or hate our sound kasi we're not used to it. Hindi sanay yung brain natin na naririnig yung boses natin. The monitor is for the Facebook page followers. It will be printers for 70,000 followers dito sa YouTube channel. Wow, ang dami naman. Ang daming pamigay, ha? Sige, kailangan ko rin ng printer ata. So sound card, tryhin nyo lang. And also it's even cheaper than another monitor, but it will do wonders. Okay? You're able to give effects. You're able to improve your presentations. You're even able to improve your videos. Ayan. So imagine, kunyari si Teacher Marian, mas marami pa siyang magagawa, most definitely, kung meron siyang sound card. Okay? And, ito, siguro, mababaw, pero hindi siya mababaw eh. I encourage you to dress up. At hindi ko masisisi yung mga schools who also ask their students to have sort of a uniform, kahit semblance lang of a uniform. Because it definitely changes your attitude. It definitely helps change your perspective. Okay? Yung mere fact na naka-button up shirt ka lang, okay? O kaya sinuot mo yung shoes mo that day, kailangan mo rin naman silang isuot para hindi sila masira. But it changes how you talk. It changes how you approach your students. Even the students would change how they attend your classes if they're all dressed up. So, if communication is not just about talking and knowing the words to say, but it's also a lot about psychology, dress up, try nyo yan, or magpabango kayo. Pinag-usapan na natin to before, mag-lipstick kayo kahit di nila nakikita. Okay? Because it changes how you communicate. It changes your mood. If it changes your mood for the better, it will change how you communicate. Okay? And just like in face-to-face, communication is about trust. Okay? If they trust that if you say you're going to be online at this time and you are, you build trust. If they assume that you read their modules when you receive them and you give them feedback, kahit yung mga simpleng check mark, happy face, short notes, I like this, I agree with you, grabing effect niyan. It will help your students build trust. Magtitiwala sila sa'yo. Okay? So, face-to-face, online distance learning, modular, trust. Now, for our checkout, okay, before we have our discussion after this, we will also happily respond to the questions na napopost sa ating chat section. Check out naman tayo. We had check-in earlier. Check out naman tayo. Again, I encourage you to use the comment section for this. What is your message to your students? Okay? Pwedeng general, or pwede ring, I'm sure when you close your eyes and think of your students, there's that one kid. There's that one student. I don't know, paborito mo ba siya? O siya ba yung current na quote-unquote sakit ng ulo mo? But there's that one student that is closest to your heart. Anong message mo for that student? What is your message? Anong gusto mong malaman niya? Okay? Given all this distance learning that we're doing, what do you want to communicate to that student? Okay? I'll give you time again to place your comments. Ayan. Sir Franco, can we perhaps copy the checkout message sa comment section so that while you continue to place your messages to your students sa ating comment section, I'll end by giving you another song. Ito naman yung message ko sa inyo. maybe for many of you, this is your message to your students, but perhaps it's also the message that you'd like to hear. It's also the message that your students want you to receive. Okay? So antayin ko lang na makopy ni Sir Franco yung yung checkout question natin before I sing for you. Or baka kahit si Teacher Pao, if you're in the backstage, Teacher Pao, palagay naman yung ating yung ating checkout message. Ayan, thank you, Sir Franco. Yeah. At this point, while you continue to place your messages, I will end my sharing with you with a song. Yeah, give me a while lang po. Ayan, para po sa inyong lahat, as you post your messages to your students, imagine ninyo this is their message for you. I guess you've heard, I guess you don't. In time I might have told you, but I guess I'm too slow. That's overly romantic, but I know that it's real. I hope you don't mind if Alright, maraming salamat po sa patuloy ninyong paglalagay ng inyong mga messages. Buti na iraos ko, ayan. Kasi habang kumakanta po ako at binabasa ko yung mga messages ninyo, parang naiiyak na ako. Ayan, parang si Teacher Pao din ata naiiyak na. So, sana po trust that your students feel that way. Okay? No matter kung ano man yung inisip ninyo that you cannot reach out to them, you somehow are not getting through to them, just give them a reason to trust you. Okay? And the communication will follow. The improved communication will follow. Ayan. Thank you very much to all of you. Samahan niyo na ako, Sir Franco, at mag-discuss na tayo.
Siyempre, ayaw pa namin lumabas kasi medyo teary-eyed pa kami,
I
no?
know.
Kahit yung mga teachers natin na may mga sobrang na and Teacher Pao, no, I think that's the best example, no, and exemplar of communication. Looking at how Sir Jamby was able to touch everyone's hearts, kaya and be able to communicate that message without coming from a song. Kaya and that's the perfect capture of what he said kanina no, ni Sir Jamby na take on your strengths, okay? So pag nag-communicate tayo, lagi nating gamitin yung mas kaya nating gamitin, okay? Regardless of your medium, regardless of the language or dialects that you're using, no? Okay? Or mga tools na gagamitin natin. Kaya mahalaga is that we're coming from that very confident position kaya to be able to communicate well what we have to communicate. So, yan, maraming salamat Sir Jamby for that one. Okay, Teacher Pao, ikaw ano bang mo at nararamdaman ngayon?
Siyempre humabol ako, 'di ba? Kasi may pasok tayo, 'di ba? So, grabe Sir Jamby. Andito pa yung yung tears ko, no? Kahit hindi ko sobrang buo na napanood, no, yung webinar mo. But you were able to share this before in a DICT seminar. And I still learned a lot in terms of communication. No? It's time for me to evaluate what I've been communicating to my students, how I am communicating with my students. And thank you for that. And I think the question that you posted in the chat box, yung mga teachers natin, hindi pa sila tapos bigay ng sarili nilang mga sagot, no? Ang dami pa at maiiyak ka na lang talaga na ito yung mga teachers natin. And I hope it gets communicated that we are all in this together. Na hindi ka nag-iisa, no? And nakakahon man tayo sa four corners of the screen, 'di ba? But our hearts are actually communicating what we actually feel, no? And thank you for this opportunity for us. Hindi siya kasi karamihan syempre ng mga seminars natin sa KTS more on the cognitive side, tech side, but this time really syempre lahat naman 'yon may mga processing and all, but this is a different touch to our webinar, touching the hearts, no, of the teachers most especially. And walang hanggang pasasalamat ang masasabi ko. Wala ka bang
Di
dyan?
ba?
Clap?
Totoo.
Di
Same
ba?
lang, same. Teacher
Di
Pao,
ba?
parehas tayo ng comment. I'd like to also make that comment, no? Kasi usually nga, yung ating mga webinars are like, yung mga tools, kaya mga processes, loaded ng mga kung ano-anong kailangan matutunan, overwhelming info, no? And I think what's really great, no, what Sir Jamby did today is actually to touch on those. Kasi meron ka ng foundation eh. Our teachers naman are excellent communicators already. We are, the fact that you're a teacher, you are one of the best communicators out there. Kaya lang ang talagang ginawa ni Sir Jamby ngayon is that to give us that better understanding of ano ba talaga yung intention mo kapag nagko-communicate ka. Are you just simply regurgitating or spewing information to your students just because you want to teach that content? Or meron ka ba talagang intention na i-transfer yung information or knowledge na yun? Okay? At yung level na yun, no, tinaas talaga ni Sir Jamby yung level of our understanding of an effective communication. Kaya nga siguro Teacher Pao, na talagang na-capture ni Teacher Sir Jamby ngayon yung idea ng recharge. Okay? So kailangan nating i-recharge yung communication na skills natin, processes, kasi good communicator naman na tayo eh. Teachers tayo eh, 'di ba? We are always in front of other people. Okay? That's the truth, no? Lalo na nung nasa face to face tayo. Lagi tayong may kaharap na estudyante araw-araw. Lagi tayong may kausap. Okay? So we are always talking, we are always communicating. Pero yung sinabi ni Sir Jamby kanina, talking is not always communicating. When you are talking, it doesn't mean you are communicating. And that's actually what I really love about Sir Jamby's session. Na talagang elevated yung understanding natin ng communication. And again, so much more. Okay? Kakain si Sir Jamby, it's supposed to be an afternoon of rem. Yung mga emotions talaga ngayon, yung mga teachers tuloy natin ngayon, ano na ngayon? Talagang bumubuo siguro yung mga emotions ngayon sa bahay. Teacher Pao, you have to review this now because the first song should
Yes.
actually sets everything up. Okay, that's the reason why yung mga teachers natin are also sobrang nakarelate sila dun sa last song. Okay? Anyway, syempre natin pinapayagan magsalita si Sir Jamby, no? Hindi natin comment eh. Ang dami natin gusto sabihin. Anyway, Sir Jamby, maraming salamat. No? And I think we can now entertain some questions. Now, we have some questions from Teacher Manolita White. Teacher Manolita White, if you could just simply repost your questions because those are good questions, but I'm having a hard time fetching them. Teacher Pao, I don't know if you also, did you come from my account, Teacher Pao? If you could also fetch those questions because Teacher
Hindi,
Manolita White
but
posted really excellent questions.
try
But
to
I can't. I'm okay. Go. I thought this one. Okay.
mahabol.
This is why it's necessary to discern the differences between personal and professional communication. Do we need to cut off personal communication or schedule time for it?
Sige, okay. I'd like to yan yung isa sa mga pinag-iisipan ko kanina. Ayan, when I was reflecting on katulad ng isang discussion question about code switching. I think it's very much related to this, yung code switching. Ganito po. Meron tayong tinatawag na, biglang naging cognitive, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na speech styles. Ayan, sa mga nag-aaral ng communication, meron tayong tinatawag na speech styles. Nandyan yung frozen, nandyan yung formal, nandyan yung consultative, nandyan yung casual and intimate. Okay, 5 yun. Frozen, formal, consultative, casual, and intimate. Yung nasa taas na dalawa, yung yung frozen and formal, yun yung very, very professional, strictly professional. The words that you use, how you talk, strictly professional. How you stand even, how you dress up, your actions, etc. Yung bottom naman na dalawa, yung casual and yung intimate, pang ano yan, pang very, very pang friends, pang family, pang yan, yung who won't mind the words that you use, etc. Pero pinaka-favorite ko yung sa gitna. And I like how doon nakapaloob yung teacher-student relationship, yung consultative. When we say consultative, ito yung the purpose of the communication is to ask for help or to give help. At again, doon pumapasok yung teacher-student relationship. Ang maganda doon sa consultative, it's both professional and personal. And it's highly dependent on reacting to the feedback that you receive. Siyempre gusto mo mag-professional muna. Kasi isa yun sa mga bagay na gusto natin maturo sa mga bata. We want them to learn how it is to be professional. Kunyari, sa konteksto ng code switching, we want them to learn how to speak English, 'di ba? Gusto natin matuto sila ng English because in business it's used, in government it's used, etc. But while you do that, while you're continuing to be professional and teaching in English at nakikita mo siya hindi nag-aano sa kanya, you're not getting through to your student, wala siyang nakukuha, hindi siya nagbe-benefit, he or she is not ready for that kind of professionalism or for that language, you adjust. At pwede yun dun sa consultative speech style. Adjust ka to a more personal level, the words that you use, you simplify your words. Kukumustahin mo muna, 'di ba yung bata, what's wrong? Is anything the matter with you? Ganyan. So, yun yung gusto ko sa bokasyon na pinili natin, that you are able to switch from professional to personal, and it's okay. It's accepted. Diba? You're expected to reach a personal level. You're also expected to reach a professional level in the vocation that we chose. So, do we need to cut off personal communication or schedule time for it? React to feedback tayo. Kung ano yung nare-receive natin na feedback, verbal, non-verbal, or in the form of exit slips, then we adjust. Kaya, yun. Sarap talaga maging teacher. Kasi, ano ka, yun yung challenge and beauty of being a teacher. You adjust every time. Yan, Sir Franco.
Thank you, Sir Jamby, no? At ito nasa may comment from Teacher Willie Garcia. Since you have given us tips to consider, what is or are the best product recommendation for another monitor and sound card? Siyempre,
Ito nga yung kanina. Siyempre, ang sasagot ko dyan, whatever you can afford.
actually, wala namang basta may second display ka, okay na yun. Oh, hindi mo kailangan ng
O kaya, di ba,
mga
bumili ka ng mahal, but you can't make it work.
Yes.
Mali, wala
simple
siya.
lang. Ako, Sir Jamby, I might be able to recommend kasi I bought a monitor for not a second monitor kasi
yung mo, yung
syempre
isang monitor mo.
May nag-donate sa akin ng monitor before the sponsor ni ViewSonic. Actually maganda si ViewSonic, kaya lang medyo mahal yung monitor niya. It actually cost you around 10 to 13,000 yung monitors niya. Pero meron ako nabili from Xiaomi. That's actually a good monitor. Actually, yung ibibigay natin sa 80K natin. Xiaomi na monitor. Yes. So, pero for teachers, no, not for admins. So, huwag na po tayo.
I resign daw.
Para sa mga teachers po natin, that's nasa ang range lang yan, nasa 6,000 to 8,000. Depende pa rin syempre sa monitor or sa size na kukunin natin. Okay, pero I hope, of course, maganda. Oo, very
maganda. I saw
sharp.
it.
Nakita ng Sir Jamby to yan. Okay, ginagamit nung anak ko. Okay, so abangan po natin, no. We're close naman na, hindi na tayo sobrang layo. We're at 76.5 thousand followers ng Kaagapay Teacher Support. So let us help us reach 80K. Yung sa 100K, hindi ko pa alam kung ano bibigyan natin, pero definitely we'll make sure that's also part ng gift natin for our teachers. Okay. By the way, while we're at it, no, at naghihintay pa tayo ng mga questions from our teachers, no, Teacher Pao and Teacher Jamby, ipapadala na po natin ngayon, okay, sa ating chat yung link papunta sa ating special gift for our teachers. No, of course, only if hindi pa kayo naka-sign up last time. Okay, this special gift will only be posted or will be only active for 10 minutes habang po kami ay nagdadaldalan dito. Okay? So this is a Google Workspace for Education account for our teachers. Okay? Alam po namin nagkakaroon kayo ng problema about storage, okay, kung gumagamit kayo ng personal Google account. Okay? So what we're going to give you teachers, okay, will be a Google Workspace for Education account. Okay? You will now be sharing a 100 terabyte community limit with us. Okay? So hindi na po kayo basta-basta
KTS account?
nawawalan.
Oo.
Yes, sa KTS account. Okay, so I'm now posting it, teachers, sa ating chat. Okay, wag naman natin mag-comment, teachers, para hindi agad umakyat yung ating form. Okay, And you have 10 minutes, no? Please just keep it here para lang po yung mga live viewers po natin ang makakakuha muna, no? Kasi syempre, kayo yung priority po namin. Okay? So yeah, teachers, I'm posting it right now. It's an active form. Okay, so you have 10 minutes, okay, to sign up. Okay, it's just going to ask you for your full name and your secondary email. Secondary email is just any email where we can send your credentials for your new Google Workspace for Education account. Again, that's hosted under Kaagapay Teacher Support. Kaya po, ang magiging email nyo ay at kaagapayph.com. Okay? So, yan po. Okay, so teachers, simple gift po, no? I know it's not as much, okay, but I hope that it gets, it allows you to explore further yung mga tools ni Google. Of course, no, yung storage pa lang siguro yun yung isa sa mga benefits po talaga nung account na yan. Okay, so teachers, okay, your 10 minutes start now. Okay, habang po
Yan,
tayo
Sir
nag-uusap.
Franco.
Sir Jamby,
Yes.
punta na
Meron
tayo
pa
ngayon
siya.
dun sa ating mga... Go ahead, sir,
May
Teacher Pao.
question. Yeah, we have a question from Teacher Nikki Namokot. I have
Okay,
a
go ahead.
question po. Ano po ginagawa ninyo to extend your patience if somebody will not be able to catch your explanation?
Uy, totoo yan. 'Di ba?
Mm-mm.
I mean, lahat tayo nakaano na diyan, nakaranas na niyan. Siyempre given na yung mga, hinga ka muna ng malalim. 'Di ba? Think before you speak, think before you react, and all these words. Pero siguro, isa dun sa mga gusto kong i-emphasize why we focused on the different elements of the communication process is, i-rethink mo rin, kasi baka it's not just the student or it's not just the student's fault. Diba? Meron ka bang sinasabi na hindi siya ready for it, di niya naintindihan yung word na yun? Or is the channel that you used, o kaya yung baka, like I have this one class na ang simple-simple lang nung ginagawa kong video for them. It's a module that they already have, but I read the module. Malaki yung difference nun. Malaki yung difference ng them just reading it versus them actually hearing it. Kung paano ba dapat siya sinasabi, kung paano ba na pinopronounce yung certain words. Okay? It adds a different meaning to it. So, maraming ibang pwedeng i-check kung bakit nangyayari. It's not just always the student's fault. Kung bakit hindi niya naintindihan. At hindi naman nangangahulugan na palaging yung teacher yung may kasalanan. Baka there's another element in the middle. May noise. May yung klase ng learner, he or she prefers that she hears the words actually spoken. So marami tayong pwedeng steps pa na pwedeng pagdaanan before we reach that point na we lose our patience. Ayun. So please do consider
Pero
the other.
mahaba yan. Oo.
Oo.
Teachers, mahaba pasensya ng mga teachers na. Pero ito lang, no, Teacher Pao.
Correct.
And
Alam mo,
of course,
kung kanino lang maikli ang patience ng mga teachers.
sa mga anak
Sa mga
nila.
anak.
Totoo.
Kaya abangan mo, pag nagkaano ka, ma-experience mo na yung patience mo is not the same. Anyway, ang ano ko dyan is that, well, maraming salamat, Sir Jamby, for that, no? Pero, kapag ganyan kasi syempre, I think the problem of the teacher, no, about the question is that mahirap minsan yan i-address dahil, for example, if you have to repeat, no, or you have to address the concern of that one student, you'll be dragging along the rest of the class. Say, for example, you have a class of 50, and then you'll have to repeat the content or the concept to that one student, okay? It will also delay, no, yung lesson, no, for other students. But, okay, at the back of your mind, ang hirap din mang iwan yung isang estudyante na yun kasi kawawa naman siya pag iniwan natin siya. Okay? So, siguro unang-una, no, kailangan natin pag-isipan, kailangan nating malaman yung bang misunderstanding or hindi nakuha yung tinuturo mo is conceptual So baka naman dun sa concept na yun lang, mahihirapan yung concept na yun. So pwede mong gawin is magbigay ka lang ng secondary reading or references. Okay, so if you did not understand the lesson for today, you may go back to this. Kung recorded yung video mo, panood mo ulit yun sa student and then let's talk about it tomorrow. So we could address no, if you really got the concept already. Pero watch out din teachers no kasi baka reception yung problema. Yung din-discuss si Sir Jamby kanina. Baka yung receiver mismo yung problema. What if, for example, cognitive yung problema? So kahit paano ilang ulit mong sasabihin yung concepts na yan, okay? Kung hindi mo talaga na-address yung root cause niya, then paulit-ulit, mauubusan ka talaga ng pasensya sa kanya. So watch out. For example, if a student keeps on asking you that's every lesson na lang may pinapaulit siyang concept, then that might be not conceptual. That might be on the receiver's end, and you'll have to do some intervention no, beyond just repeating the lessons because again it's so hard to repeat always the lesson ano so ano lang natin yan
Yeah.
spot kagad natin yan yung
Yeah.
idea din okay
Sa akin,
so
Sir
go
Franco,
ahead teacher
ano
oo.
eh, oo, kasi ang dalas ko niyan, sa math, syempre, di ba, parang, lalo na ngayong online, syempre, that's really a challenge. How do you address these challenges no, with the students? But, totoo, mahaba ang pasensya ng mga teachers eh, totoo yun. Now, if one tip that I can actually give, especially if, for example, uh, anong tawag sa ganyan, yung concepts mo builds from previous concepts, you might want to ask also references from previous teachers. No? Tingnan nyo muna, kung isang beses pa lang naman siyang ganun, baka naman hindi lang talaga based on environment lang kasi nag-iba. Pero parang tumatagal, ganun pa rin yung nangyayari. Tapos napapansin mo siya. Of course, you communicate with the parent if this has been a persistent concern. Another one is for you to ask no previous teachers ano ba yung naging performance niya before, saan ba siya talaga nahihirapan para medyo ma-pinpoint mo na as a teacher where the concern lies no with the goal of sana mas matulungan pa natin saan ba talaga nahihirapan yung student kasi kung hindi
Yes.
para ka lang nag-zero in, hindi mo alam kung saan eh. Eh yun pala, hindi naman yung lesson mo yung problema. Meron siyang previous na hindi nasasagot, which is required dun sa current na tinuturo. So, collaboration dun sa, ang tinatawag natin tong vertical integration among teachers in the community, no? So, tatanungin mo yung grade 4 teacher, kung grade 5 teacher ka, gano'n.
Indeed, no. So lagi watch out for patterns teachers, no. Kapag pattern 'yan, alam mo na there's a deeper problem, no, underlying problem. Hindi siya pwedeng personal na yung bata, no. So we can always properly address that, okay? So Teacher Pau and Teacher Jamby, no, we prepared some questions here also to address in relation to communication. So that I think no, our teachers would also be concerned about, okay? At ito yung unang question nila which partially na address ni Sir Jamby kanina, no. So, the issue of code switching kasi ano rin yan eh. Minsan kasi, nagiging issue to for example, for our teachers, okay, lalo na for example, pag na-evaluate sila, okay, that nagiging contentions ng mga teachers na bakit ka nagko-code switch in your class, okay, while you're supposed to use for example one medium or one language okay, in your class. Okay, so ano nga bang is it beneficial? Is code switching beneficial or detrimental para sa learning process ng mga estudyante natin. Okay? Code switching yung pagkapalit-palit teachers no ng language, yung magi-English ka tapos magpi-Filipino, tapos Filipino-English or nagtataglish ka minsan no. Yan yung tinatawag nating code switching. Sir Jamby?
Ako, it all boils down to intention. Why are you code switching in the first place? Medyo obvious naman kung nagko-code switch ka because hindi mo alam or ikaw mismo as the teacher hindi mo ma-deliver in just one language yung lesson mo. But if the purpose of code switching is emphasis, okay, yun nga, you want them to understand it better, the lesson. Ako, and this is just me, I do not speak for my school or the school I work with. Depends on the intention. May advantage ang code switching, but Okay? Yung teacher should always be aware. Okay? Should always try his or her best, attempt to not do it, especially within a sentence. But if the intention is to help, why not? Okay? Aanhin mo yung buong lesson mo in full English or in full Filipino pero natapos di ka naman nila naintindihan. So, yeah, that's just me. Paglilinaw.
Go ahead, Teacher Pao.
Yes, for
Any
me,
ideas or kung ano?
yes. This one kasi of course, iba-iba kasi yan per subject. Unang-una, if you're teaching a language subject, iba rin yung need mo doon, 'di ba? I'm working in a Chinese school. Syempre yung Chinese class, as much as possible, you don't code switch kung hindi masasanay yung bata. No, because you're teaching a language. No, maybe similar to English, similar to Filipino also. But when you teach, for example, math, no, you also try to get first what is the native language of the student. Kasi mamaya, hindi rin pala nila nagigets, mas nahihirapan sila pag nagko-code switch ka. So you also have to know your client. No, so if you for example you're teaching math in English, you feel in your, for example in your previous school mas nagwo-work yung mag-code switch ka ng Filipino, mas naintindihan nila, pero you transfer to a school where the students barely or is really having difficulty understanding more complex terms in Filipino, then do not code switch. So that it requires you to really know your clients, no? So minsan nga talaga yung iba, 'di ba? Talagang mother tongue. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng mother tongue kasi gusto din natin na maging bihasa yung mga bata kung saan yung lengguwahe talaga nila, no? So it's very important that you know your clients, kung sino yung kakausapin ninyo. Now, if it will create confusion, then it's not gonna work. No, it's not gonna work.
Thank you, Teacher Pao. Okay. Kung pag-usapan po natin ng research, no, teachers, code switching is not necessarily detrimental to learning. Okay. Kaya tulad ng sinabi Teacher Pao, it will always depend, and also Teacher Sir Jamby's idea on intentions. Okay. So una-una, pwede ang code switching kung informal ang setup natin. Kung wala naman tayong tinuturo na na concept. So for example, kung nag-expound ka lang o kaya you're building rapport, okay, or you're talking to student, okay, code switching it's like acceptable, okay? Nagiging problema ang code switching teachers kapag nag-i-introduce ka ng concept. So make sure kapag nag-i-introduce tayo ng concept, we choose a language, okay? And it's regardless, no, okay? Pero syempre, let's take on what Teacher Pau's idea, no? Kung ano yung ginagamit ng bata, yun ang gamitin natin. Okay, so kung saan sila mas bihasa. Na pag-introduce ng mga concepts na yun. Okay? So, there are times no na pwede ka mag-code switch at may mga times na hindi ka dapat or hindi appropriate na nagko-code switching tayo. Okay? Next, Teacher Pao. Meron tayong question from the chat and I think that's an interesting question. Okay, before we go to our next and I'd like to, of course, no, from Sir Jamby as well. Okay? This is a question on social media. Okay? So, sir, how important is social media versus traditional platforms, websites, newsletters, email in a communication strategy? What sort of social media works best? Siyempre,
That's
ngayon, mga bata rin, nasa social media.
Oo, correct. Teacher
Malapit natin
Jessie
pasukin ang TikTok.
Mena. Yan, siya nagtanong. Teacher Jessie Ray. Dami. Ilan ba social media accounts nyo? Si Sir Franco nagdagdag na social media.
Yes, we're now on TikTok, teachers. Habulin niyo po kami or hanapin niyo po kami sa TikTok ni Teacher Pao at para mas ano po tayo, no, makapag-engage
Ano ba
tayo.
yan?
Sir Jamby,
Kumagat ka
social
na
media.
sa TikTok,
Oo.
Ako, both are important. Okay? Definitely both are important. Social media and the quote-unquote traditional media. Lalo na ngayon that we're physically away from each other and it's easier, it's even more convenient to reach each other through social media. So I encourage you to use both, but siguro don't use both the same way. Wag mong gagamitin yung social media the same way that you would use your website. Okay? May mga bagay na pang social media, may mga bagay na pang website. Magkaiba ng topics. Say for example, you need to announce something na cancellation of classes. Diba? Cancellation of class. Social media ka. Kasi it's easier to share. And then you provide a link to your quote-unquote traditional media that explains it further. Okay? So my recommendation is that you use both but use each differently. Okay? Kilalanin nyo rin yung ginagamit ninyo na medium. Gusto mong ipakalat yung information pero nilalagay mo lang sa nilalagay mo lang sa website ninyo. Diba? O kaya, you want the topic to be taken seriously, pero yung how you posted it on social media, parang meme. Ganyan. So, kikilalanin mo yung gagamitin mo, but my recommendation is that you use both. Okay? Magkaibang approach definitely, but use both to be able to reach more people, to be able to reach them sa magkaiba nilang mga perspectives. Kasi bawat isa naman sa atin may serious side and may not so serious side. Diba? Pagka sa TikTok, titignan mo rin naman yung TikTok diba? At titignan mo rin naman yung website, for example. And knowing both gives you an even better understanding of the whatever it is na binabahagi mo. Okay.
Si teacher, Franco, nagti-TikTok na
Ayun.
mamayabangan niyo yan.
Ano ba yan?
Maka-practice tayo mamaya yan, no?
Baka
Maraming salamat
baka
Sir
may
Jamby
makita
for
na akong ano yan? Baka mamaya sumasayaw ka na nung yung sayaw ni Andrea Brillantes Nakita mo na ba yun?
Hindi ko
yes, nakita ko na
ma-search
yun.
nga yan.
Bigyan natin mamaya yun, ano? At si Sir Jamby, no, dapat siguro, well, I think kaagapay teacher support is an example of that use of social media in a good way. Di ba? So we can always use them. Kaya I think what social media gives us is it gives us a better perspective of our students. What's the trend? What's going on? Ano yung pinag-uusapan ng mga estudyante natin? Sa social media, which actually allows you to connect to them more, because if you, not necessarily that you're going to like dance every time or dance in TikTok na, pero at least malalaman mo yun kasi you get to build that rapport and link to them, allows you to communicate. Sinabi yan Sir Jamby yan kanina, kapag hindi ready yung mga students mo or hindi ka connected sa mga students mo, kahit gaano ka pa kagaling magsalita, kahit gaano pa kaganda yung lesson mo or gaano ka ka-interactive, you will not connect or you're not connected to them, then you've failed to communicate what you need to communicate. Okay? So yan yung sana talaga tandaan, no, for those things. Okay? Go ahead, Teacher Pao. Any ideas that you'd like to add?
Yes.
Before we go to our next question?
Yes. Yan. So yung the use of social media, no, like you also evaluate how your environment would ano yung purpose nga, no? Sometimes din kasi your social media, especially if it's your personal social media account, and you want to post something, you have to make sure that you have your certain limitations, because anything that you post there, kung anong background mo, ganun mo siya nako-communicate. So for example, you were personal social media mo pero naka-friend sa mga students mo. It's not bad. It's not okay lang maging friends kayo, but you have to make sure that you maintain. Yun nga, ang hirap maging teacher, 'di ba? Sabi ko nga, pag teacher ka, artista ka. 'Di ba? Why would teachers why would artists want to keep their life private? Because kailangan nilang ihiwala yung personal and yung pagiging artista nila. Same with teachers 'di ba? Pero hindi mo magawa masyado kasi nga syempre model ka 'di ba? So the way you use your social media, you have to also think ano ba yung mga previous content na meron ka sa social media. Kasi kung paano kanila nakita, kunwari ikaw yung teacher na very open about all your emotions. You also expect your students na si teacher kasi ganito siya. Ganon ka rin titimplahin ng mga estudyante mo, how you present, no? If you're a teacher who presents your opinions, the student will follow. 'Di ba? Parang gano'n eh. Yun nga yung nasabi kanina, 'di ba? Si Sir Jamby is walking the talk. 'Di ba? You walk the
Yes,
talk.
no,
Yan.
correct.
So,
Yes.
it depends again also on how you use your own social media if that would be a case, no? So, for formal communications, syempre email yan. Minsan nga, wag
Correct.
ka mag-Viber, ganyan, kung hindi naman sobrang urgent. Kasi ang hirap din i-track, no? Formal communications. Pero kung urgent, yan, pwede mong gamitin, and so on. Kaya nabuo yung different platforms eh. 'Di ba?
Mm.
So,
Or,
like, yeah, kami, ako, Sir Franco, we use Google Chat for
yes, di
official
ba?
communications
Huwag ka
doon.
mag-Viber, mag-Google Chat ka.
'Di ba? Google Chat. Bukod sa may history na 'yon, mababalikan mo talaga, it's there, no? Hindi ko
Oo.
siya ilalagay sa Messenger if I also have to talk to my teacher colleagues. And then also, meron actually nagsabi sa akin before na, Miss, if it's work related, preferred ko po, no? Kasi I was talking how do you want me to communicate with you? Preferred ko po na not to communicate to me through Messenger or Instagram if it's work related para mahiwalay niya rin what is work, what is not to avoid burnout. Kasi sa lahat na ng social media mo, lumabas puro work, talagang hindi mo na mahihiwalay yun. So,
Yes, correct. No. But of course, no, there's really no formula to that. Like it's day in and day out teachers that you'll have to judge. Okay. Your social media, when to engage your students in social media, when not to engage them. So it's always a daily call for all of us. No, I know it's hard, okay, but that's part of our task. No, that's part of us being a teacher. Okay. So our next question is a perennial question, no, among our teachers, and also actually hindi lang sa loob ng classroom to pinag-uusapan, no, kahit sa labas ng classroom. Okay. Is English the best medium of communication? Kasi syempre, no, nandiyan na yung concept, for example, ng intellectual, okay, na or pag nalalasing, napapa-English. Teachers, okay, mag-deny. Aminin natin na minsan pag napainom tayo ng konti, napapa-English tayo, no? Hindi, that's just kidding. Anyway, yung ano, no, yung usapin ng tungkol sa English, no, ano ba talaga? Is it really the best medium of communication, or meron ka bang, or do we have other options? Go ahead, Sir Jamby.
Well, English is a good medium of communication. Definitely. Is it the best? Ayan. Ayoko siyang pangalanan na the best because you might think that the others are subpar compared to English. Okay? Itutuhog ko na rin yung susunod na topic. Actually, it's very, very advantageous for a communicator to learn not only English, but also Filipino, and stay true to your dialect. Okay? Wag mong kalimutan yung dialect mo, or the other languages that you know how to speak. Kasi all those different languages and dialects improve you as a communicator. Gives you more weapons you may use when you communicate with other people. Diba? Parang sinabi mo na kunyari, sa gera ba, tangke lang yung best na weapon? Kung one-on-one na yung laban ninyo, di ba? Inakit na yung tangke, wala ka na magagawa doon. So, it's definitely a good, it's a good medium of communication. I teach English also. I highly encourage everyone to learn the language, but not if you're not going to learn Filipino or Chinese kung nandun ka sa Chinese community, or if you ever want to get involved in the Chinese community, alamin mo lahat yan. Kaya naman our brains are very much capable of learning all these languages, and it will just continue to make your your communication skills better.
Totoo. Agree ako doon, no. Hindi naman wired yung brain natin sa English lang. Kaya minsan pag may nagsasabi ng mga ibang parents magaling yung anak ko mag-English pero hirap na siya sa Filipino. So bakit po? or other way around, no? So, kung natuto po yung anak niyo, no, sa isang language, or if the student actually uses one language, then definitely he's capable also, or she's capable of learning another language, or vice versa, no? Go ahead, Teacher Pao.
Alam mo, Sir Franco, wait lang, pasingit lang,
Go,
teacher.
go.
Sure.
I came across this study once na it's actually more difficult to learn Filipino. It's a more complicated language.
Mm.
Kumbaga, ang daling matuto ng English actually. Manood ka lang ng manood ka
Madami kasing
ng
madaming
TV.
materials eh.
Marami
Yes.
kasing material,
Yeah,
di ba?
materials. Okay.
So, imagine mo, those students who learned Filipino when they were young or who learned Filipino first, time will come, marunong sila nung dalawa.
Mm.
But those who learned English only, sometimes, ang lungkot naman, look down upon
Oo.
Filipino or the other dialects.
Yes, walang ganun
They,
dapat. Oo.
they end up learning just one language. Hindi pa nila mastered.
Yes. Actually, that's the reason why our session for today is entitled Communication. So, hindi siya language session today. Kasi our intention is to really build communication, no? As long as you're able to transmit or to transfer knowledge or information to your students, okay? And you've successfully done that, regardless if you're using English, Filipino, Bisaya, or Ilocano, okay? Then you have done your communication. You have communicated well. Okay? You're a successful communicator. Okay? So, yun talaga, teachers, yung essence nun. Go ahead, Teacher Pao.
Yes. So regarding English being the best medium of communication, I would agree with Sir Jamby that a number, no, because I'm working I'm working with the International Baccalaureate Organization, no. It is important that I know English. It is important that I know English because I will not be able to relate with different people of different nationalities, no. But it's relative, really, no. Whatever the need is, okay, that's the best for that period. Sinabi ko to sa dad ko, hinayang ako na hindi ako marunong magkapampangan. Tuwang-tuwa ako kapag nakikita ko yung mga tita ko, kunwari pumunta kami ng Pampanga, nagsasalita sila, tapos parang feel ko nasa ibang mundo ko, tapos parang ang ganda ng mga salita nila. Tapos pero ang ginagawa ko, minsan nag-eavesdrop ako sa tatay ko. Tapos pag di naman niya ako pinapaalis, sabihin ko sa kanya, ito yung sinabi mo, di ba?
Ako rin eh.
Gusto ko aralin eh, pero hindi kasi din ako lumaki na ganon. Dito na ako sa Manila kasi. Sila kasi, yung mga tito-tita ko, lumaki sa Pampanga. So, parang sila, natutuwa talaga ako. Tapos minsan parang, nagluloko-lokohan na lang kami magpipinsan pero wala talaga marunong sa amin magkapampangan. Kasi hindi rin kami lumaki ng ganon. Pero it doesn't, you know, if the best medium of communication is actually English, de sana ang pinakamagagaling natin lahat lang ng nag-aral sa Western countries, di ba? But no, di ba? We have graduates from our provinces here in the Philippines who are able to communicate in different languages and they excelled, no. So it's really on that communication. So if natuto po kayo ng ibang language, congratulations. At different dialect, congratulations po sa inyo. But yeah, I sabi ko nga kay Sir Alvin, gusto ko, tinanong niya, tapos kinakapampangan ako ni Sir Alvin, reklosado. Kasi kapampangan din siya. Pero gusto ko siyang sagutin ng kapampangan, di ko alam. So, yun.
So again, boils down to sino yung kausap natin. Okay? Pero actually maganda yung isang point na na-raise ni Teacher Teacher Arlene. Kaya sometimes lang talaga from your local languages, no, mas nakaka-capture niya yung essence. Anong perfect example niyan, Sir Jamby tsaka Teacher Pao? Okay? Yung salitang I love you. Iba yung tama niyan pag sinabihan ka ng I love you sa mahal kita. Okay? Kasi may ibang meaning yung mahal kita. Kasi pag I love you, you're
us Filipinos, iba yung
yes,
tama.
oo. Kasi ang kita means dalawang tao yan. So pag sinabi, for example, na I love you, okay, sabihin that someone loves you. Okay? Not necessarily that you love the person back. Pero pag sinabi mo ng mahal kita, ibig sabihin, nagmamahalan. Kasi yung word na kita means the two person. Salita natin yan para sa dalawang tao. Okay? Kasi diba, pag translate mo yung I love you, dapat ako, mahal ka. yun dapat ang literal translation. Pero mahal kita is a deeper Yun yung klase ng by context, kaya yung culture also plays an important role. Okay, siguro we're down to our last question for today, no? Para din makapagbigay tayo ng insights pa sa ating mga teachers, okay? So this one is, how can we build confidence in communication among our students naman? Okay, since teachers, okay, alam natin kung paano tayo magiging good communicator, pero Sir Jamby, Teacher Pao, ano naman ang mga tips natin for our teachers, okay? So that we can also encourage our students to become better communicator, because 21st century skill yan. Kailangan ng mga estudyante natin yan. Go ahead.
Ako yung binanggit ko kanina sa sa slide ko na trust. Assure them always. Assure your students na with you meron silang safe space, na it's okay to commit mistakes. Okay? And when they do commit mistakes, and everyone commits mistakes, kahit mga teachers, syempre you correct them with the best of intentions, pero never silang ipapahiya. Okay? Kasi yun lang, once makaranas sila ng isang time lang na jokingly, hindi nila alam na joke pala, pinagtawanan mo sila, or pinagtawanan ng mga class, and you did not process that instance, wala na yan. Napakahirap na yang ayusin until tumanda sila. Buti kung dumating pa yung time na maayos nila within themselves na I can still be a better communicator pa rin.
Yes.
Safe space,
Agree.
Sir Jamby, no? Totoo yan. Parang naalala ko, share ko lang, no, just yan. Kasi nagkaroon ako ng trauma before magsulat. When I was in first year high school. Kasi sinabihan ako ng teacher ko, pangit mo magsulat, Franco. Parang kinahig ng manok. So, hindi na ako ever nagsulat ng Kaya hindi ako natutong mag-cursive. Kasi yung parang cursive, parang nag-cursive ako ng first year high school ako eh. So, simula ng print na ako ever since. Dahil sa nakaka-trauma yung yung experience. Okay, so, thank you so much, Sir Jamby, for that. Okay. Sa Teacher Pao?
Okay. Agree tayo dun sa safe space talaga. No? And when you have established that, of course, you encourage them, no? But there are times, aminin natin, lalo na ngayon online, di ba? They're off-cam. Maraming nagpo-post sa atin sa mga comment section na, ano pong gagawin kapag off-cam yung bata? Hindi namin alam kung actually nandyan pa siya or wala na siya or ayaw lang talaga niya magsalita, no? Careful po tayo sa cold calls, no? Although sometimes it works, no? To, kasi syempre, you have to build confidence, you have to encourage them to start talking, no? But when you do cold calls, alamin nyo muna kung talagang posibleng meron kang what do you call this, previews na napag-usapan, or may assignment sila, para kahit magtawag ka randomly, meron. Or you can set them up so sa virtual world natin ngayon, no, breakout rooms muna. Kasi yan ang concern natin, no, in terms of communication. Hindi ayaw kunwari may tanong ka, tapos magpapakaramdaman sila kung sino magre-recite, walang magre-recite, so tatawag ka ngayon. Hindi mo sure kung yung matatawag mo may napag-usapan. So one approach that you can actually do is to set them out in smaller groups with their peers. Kasi sila nasa same level sila ng understanding eh. So, baka ganon, di ba? Or ituro nila or something like that, no? And then once they are able to communicate, no? I'm talking about communication orally. Saka mo sila ibalik sa main room. Pagdating na main room, kahit sino nang tawagin mo, dahil meron silang napag-usapan, meron silang ma-share. No, meron silang ipaprocess. Kaya kahit pa yung idea nila came from their groupmate and you called them, they will still be able to relay something, no, na ginawa sila mismo ang nag-isip, 'di ba? Hindi naman memorize yan, no? The outright it from the breakout room. So even in paperworks, peer reviews of works, 'di ba Sir Franco, kapag kunwari yung sarili mong paper lang ginawa mo, tapos hindi mo alam kung okay ba siya, papacheck mo rin siya sa peers, 'di ba? If you are able to understand, para doon pa lang before mo siya masubmit kay teacher, meron ka ng confidence ng konti na, ay, may nakaintindi pala sa akin. Ay, malabo pala to. So, i-revise ko muna ng konti. So, there are different ways, no? One of which is check their peers, check how how the peers communicate or at their level. Yun.
Salamat, Teacher Pao. Of course, just add to that, no, bago tayo siyempre mag-create ng safe space, mag-create lang tayo in the first place ng spaces. Okay? It's not only the classroom that we're, the virtual classroom that we're looking at. No? Kailangan meron tayong, the students should be able to feel that they can contact you, no, within the day, for example, especially if it's an asynchronous time. So, always put your emails right there. Kaya nga kahapon nagturo kami ng email management kasi hindi rin maganda sa feeling ng mga estudyante natin that their emails are not being answered, no, as soon as possible. For example, 2 weeks na after mo nasagot yung email, medyo hindi siya nakaka-build ng confidence for our students. Like they felt like they're being ignored. Okay, that's the reason why, in connection to what we taught yesterday, no. Siguro din consistency in your own communication, because you are first and foremost, no, the models of your students. Okay, they will take it away, they will take it from you. So kung ano yung protocols mo, ano yung ethics mo in communication, will definitely be modeled by your students. Okay, and again, katulad sa amin, Teacher Pao, always provide them with opportunity to talk. Okay, and you start small. Totoo yun, yung breakout rooms is actually very helpful just to break the ice in terms of like being shy, okay, being embarrassed on sharing. That actually, no, is a very, very helpful strategy. Okay, so you start from their teachers, no? Okay, so maraming salamat, teachers, and that our discussion, our panel discussion. Okay, we hope that we were able to share, okay, our thoughts and ideas, okay, when it comes to effective communication. Okay, and of course, we'd like to thank, no, Sir Jamby, Teacher Pao. Would you mind, of course, no, reading our
Yes, of
certificate,
course.
okay, for teacher, for Sir Jamby, okay, just to thank him, no, for being our lead facilitator and speaker for today.
All right. Kaagapay Teacher Support presents this certificate of appreciation to Sir Joseph Angelo M. Santos for sharing his knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar entitled Effective Communication in Distance Learning Public Speaking Workshop, awarded on September 11, 2021, signed by your co-administrators, myself, Sir Angelo Malyari, and Sir Franco Adun. Sir Jamby, super thank you. May pa-bonus ka pang number, di ba?
And of course, maraming salamat na. Ako yung next doon, kasi ako yung tuturo kay Sir Jamby sa mga pagkanta-kanta na yan. Just kidding. Anyway, teachers, no, let's hear from Sir Jamby, no, a message. No, Sir Jamby, of course, pa-start na ang ating mga teachers. May mga nagpapadala na ng modules. Nasa field na po ang mga teachers natin ngayon, sending and delivering modules. Okay? So, a message, teacher, Sir Jamby?
Ayun, siguro po dalawang bagay, dear teachers. Unang-una, gusto kong ibahagi sa inyo yung isa sa mga beautiful quotes that I came across with that goes, one of the biggest or one of the greatest problems in the communication is when we listen to reply. Ayan. We should instead listen to understand. Ayan. Maraming communication breakdown na nangyayari kasi nakikinig lang tayo because iniisip na natin kung paano tayo magre-reply, or alam mo na kung paano, ay hindi. Nagsasalita pa lang isang tao, hindi, mali yung sinasabi niya. Ito sasabihin ko to mamaya, and so on and so forth. Listen to understand lang muna tayo. Okay? Kahit minsan sa mga students natin, when they have problems, sometimes we don't even need to reply. Okay? We just need to assure them that you're there, ready to listen to them. And then pangalawa, tulad nung inawit ko kanina na you were there, whether or not they express it or express it in a way na nakikita natin, trust me, dear teachers, nararamdaman nila, and they're very, very grateful for everything that you do, you've done, and will continue to do. So, saludo ako sa inyo, mga dear teachers.
Nakamute ka, Sir Franco.
Maraming salamat, Sir Jamby, 'no. And of course, dahil, pa-start na po tayo, pa-second session na tayo, 'no, I'd like to remind everyone, that we will still have 4 more sessions, actually 5 more sessions, in our, September series, So, on next week, we will have, a session on, creating ebook. This was
Ooh.
requested by our teachers, on book creator and Kotobe. Marami pong gagamit ng Kotobe author, 'no, this school year, among from our teachers. Um, so I hope that this session gets to give you an idea on how to use Kotobe author, and we'll also introduce another tool that you might want to also explore. And of course, ito nasimulan na ni Sir Jamby pero palalalimin pa ulit natin, rediscovering love for teaching. Kaya practical tips in staying motivated and driven. Okay? And we'll follow it up with level up PowerPoint presentation. So meron tayo on ClassPoint and making interactive presentations. And I'll be, yours truly will be discussing a bichronous approach, on how to blend properly synchronous and asynchronous teaching. And we'll end September series with OneNote complete walkthrough. Nauna siya, no? Kasi
And with the best.
Yes. Tsaka ano yan, papasok Sir Jamby kasi ang ating October series ay kaano lang ng idea, no, it's on EdTech Tools Festival. So it's all about tools whole October. So like complete wakelet walkthrough, quizzes, and all other tools. No? Sabihin niyo lang po kami teachers kung may mga tools kayo na gusto i-request for October series.
Saka yung
And
mga
of course,
yung mga ano natin dyan, yung mga companies, ayan, this is your opportunity sa October. Ayan, gusto nyo mamigay
yes.
sa mga teachers natin, why not?
Why not?
Oo, syempre, no, invite natin kapag may mga sponsors din tayo. Sir Jamby, baka pwede mo naman i-post sa ating, bibili kayo sa chat ngayon, sa ating private chat para malagay ko sa comment section, ang iyong Facebook, no, page, May Facebook page po si Sir Jamby. Please follow Sir Jamby's Facebook page, no, kasi meron siya diyang lagi mga daily songs, no, that's going to uplift your spirits every day. Okay? So, napakagandang pakinggan. Okay? So, teachers, ayan na po ang ating evaluation link. It's https://tinyurl.com/recharge. Okay? 02. Not 02 po. No? 02. You can also scan our QR code, no, if you have your other cell phones. Okay? So, let us know kung nag-work po at okay po ang ating form. Ayan. Teachers, I'm posting now our okay.
Working.
Yes. Facebook page ni Sir Jamby sa ating chat right now. Okay? Teacher MA, Google po, meron po tayong buong month for that, no? So we will not cover Google Tools tsaka Microsoft Tools kasi meron tayong month series for those two systems. Okay? So what we're going to cover for October EdTech Tools Festival are all other tools outside of Google and outside of Microsoft. Okay, maraming salamat teachers and thank you again for being with us. We'll see you on next week, Saturday, for the third installment of our September series. Hi teachers. Warm up. Practice na ako.